Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is YULIANA. I'm a student of English Literature, Faculty of Cultural Sciences, Environment University. So today I'm gonna explain about Charles Dickens' novel, Great Expectation Tales to the relates to the Victorian era. So let's start. The first is about Victorian period. The Victorian era of British history was the period of Queen Victoria's reign from 1837 until her death in 1901. It was a long period of peace, prosperity, refined culture, good advancements in technology, and national self-confidence from Britain. During the Victorian age, Britain was the world's most powerful nation. By the end of Victorian reign, the British Empire extended over about one-fifth of the Earth's surface. Like Elizabethan England, Victorian England saw great expectation of wealth, power, and culture. But as Victorian England was a time of great ambition and grandeur, it was also a time of misery, squalor, and urban ugliness. And then biography of Charles Dickens. I choose Charles Dickens from the Victorian era. Charles Dickens was a popular English novelist of the Victorian era, and to this day he remains a giant in British literature. Dickens wrote numerous books that are now considered classic, including David Copperfield, Oliver Twist, Tale of Two Cities, and Great Expectation. Much of his work was inspired by the difficulties he faced in childhood as well as social and economic problems in Victorian Britain. Charles Dickens' early life. When Charles was 12, his father his his father was sent to debtor's prison, and Charles was forced to take a job in factory that made shoe polish known as blacking. And then Charles' early career, the witty and insightful articles Dickens wrote became popular, and he was eventually given the chance to collect them in a book. And then Charles Dickens, the Dickens penned a new novel for publication in serial form. The Mystery of Edwin Drood began appearing in April 1870. On June 8, 1870, Dickens spent the afternoon working on the novel before suffering a stroke at dinner. He died the next day. And then Dickens' work in the 1836, Dickens published the first novel, The Pickwick Paper, and in 1837, Oliver Twist. In 1838, Nicholas uh, Nickleby, Nickleby, and in 1840, The Old Curiosity Shop. And then in 1855, Little Dorrit. In 1859, A Tale of Two Cities. And in 1860, With Expectation. And the last one in 1864, Our Mutual Friend. Dickens have a lot of work, but I'm just mentioning eight books of him. And then I choose Great Expectation to more explain about the synopsis. Um, I think just plot, setting, and character. So the first is synopsis. Great Expectations follows the childhood and young adult years of Pip, a blacksmith's apprenticing in a country village. He suddenly comes into a large fortune. His great expectations. From a mysterious benefactor, he moves to London where he enters high society. He thinks he knows where the money has come from, but he turns out to be sadly mistaken. The story also follows Pip's dealings with Estella, a young woman has a young woman he adores but who cannot return his love. And then the characteristic of the Great Expectation novel. The first is Pip, the protagonist and narrator of Great Expectation. Pips begins the story as a young orphan boy being raised by his sister and brother-in-law in the Mars country of Kent. In the southeast of England, Pip is a passionate, romantic, and somewhat unrealistic at heart, and he tends to expect more for himself than is reasonable. Pip also has a powerful conscience, and he deeply wants to improve himself both morally and socially. Estella. Estella is a Pip's unattainable dream throughout the novel. He loves her passionately, but though she sometimes seems to consider him a friend, she is easily cold, cruel, and uninterested in him. As they grow up together, she she repeatedly warns him that she has no heart. And then Miss Havis Havisham. Um, Miss Havisham is a wealthy, eccentric old woman who lives in a manor called Sadie's house near Pip's village. And then there's a lot of the character in the novel. Abel Megwich, a fearsome criminal. Megwich escaped from prison at the beginning of Great Expectation and terrorized people in the cemetery. Joy Gargery, the brothers-in-law, Jagger, the Powell, foreboding lawyer hired by Megwich to survive Pip's elevation to the upper class, and then Herbert Pocket. Pip first meet Herbert Pocket in the garden of Sadie's house when as a pale young gentleman, and then Wemmick, Jagger's clerk and Pip's friend. Wemmick is one of the strangest characters in The Great Expectation, and Biddy, a simple, kind-hearted country girl. Biddy first best friend Pip when they attend school together. Dudley Orlick, the Dale labored in Joy Forge. Orlick is a slouchy, owlish embodiment of evil, and Mr. Joy, Pip's sisters, and Joy wives. And then Compayson, a criminal and the former partner of Megwich, and then Batley Drumley, Alfish, unpleasant young man who attend tourist session with Pip at the Pocket's house. And then Molly, Jagger's housekeeper, and Mr. Wopsle, the church clerk in Pip country town, and then Startop, a friend of Pip's and Herbert. Startup is a delicate young man who with Pip and Jumbo. And the lesson is Miss Skiffins, Wemmick's beloved and eventually wife. And then the plot of the Great Expectation is about Pip's journey from a poor childhood in privileged adulthood and the power that money and social class have to change him as he grows up. The first is the young Pip meets and assists the escaped convict Megwich on the marshes near his house where he lived with his sister and Georgie, the village blacksmith. Pip goes to Sutter House where he meets the eccentric Miss Havison and her adopted daughter Estella. He returns on several occasions. After working as a blacksmith apprenticing for a number of years, Pip grows up and is one day informed that he has come into a great deal of money. He assumed that this has come from Miss Havison. Pip travels to London where he becomes a gentleman. He grows increasingly fond of Estella but neglects to maintain contact with his family. Megwig illegally returns from abroad and announcing that he is Pip's secret benefactor. Estella plans to marry Bentley Drumler, and Miss Havishman is involved in a terrible fire. After Pip unsuccessfully tries to get Megwig out of the country, Megwig dies in prison, and Pip loses his fortune. Pip, now older and wiser, returns to his family home and meets Estella once more. And the setting of the Great Expectation is all set in 19th century England, mainly in London and the surrounding marsh- marshlands where Pip grows up. The settings are described through Pip's point of view and highlight both his dissatisfaction and his idealism. I think that's all for me. Um, Thank you for watching this video and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.